Hello, my name is Brooke Lehman, and I will be doing a professional development on integration of literacy strategies. So let's start out with a quote by Lee Ann Pike from Palm City Elementary, Florida. It says, "The Library Media Center of tomorrow is not just about books anymore. It's about empowering students to be masters of their own learning." I love this quote because it really helps us take a step back to think about what the Library Media Center does for our students and what our roles as library media specialists really are. So first off, a little introduction about me. Like I said, my name is Brooke Lehman. I have been teaching since 2018, and I have had first and second graders. I have a lot of experience teaching diverse communities. So my school is extremely diverse. We have 44% African American population, 22% Hispanic or Latino, 21% white, and 15% other or two or more races. So I come from a school that has a very, very diverse population, students coming from different backgrounds, different cultures. I have a lot of experience in the Jan Richardson Guided Reading Lesson Plan. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's just a way of doing guided reading, and we all do guided reading in our schools, but this is the plan that the district follows. Along with that, I have experience in the workshop model for literacy instruction, and I will finish the light program after this summer, and I will have my master's in libraries, informatics, and technology in education. So first, let's start out with library media specialists. What is our role? We have to think about what our roles are. And we're not just the typical stay in the library, help kids check out books kind of role. We have a lot more roles than that. So Martis uses a great visual. He uses a Venn diagram to explain this. And there are two different types of roles. We have direct and indirect, and then we have a combination of those, and that would be the middle part of the Venn diagram. So we'll start with the direct roles. So we are teachers. We have to help our students develop skills in using information and help them understand that they can use a variety of sources to get that information. We also are instructional partners. Collaboration is key, and I will say that many times throughout this presentation, and I say it many times throughout my career as a teacher. We have to work with our classroom teachers to help them design lessons and then take those lessons a step further and have lesson extensions in our library. We have to work with our teachers on what they're doing in their classrooms so we can piggyback off that and help our students even more. So these roles are our user-oriented roles. Then we have our indirect roles. So we are information specialists. As information specialists, we are resources for all staff and students. We can help decide what resources are appropriate for our students. We can help them understand that there are a variety of resources they can use. We are, like I said, information specialists. People can come to us for those types of things. We're program administrators. We are responsible for taking care of our programs. We have to take care of the budget, the facilities, and the collection. We are responsible for making sure the library is running smoothly. So these roles are our collection-oriented roles. Last but not least, we have a combination of both of these types of roles, and that is we are leaders. This is where the roles come together. We have to set an example and set the tone for how the library can be used and how we are resources for our staff and our students. So now that I have built some background knowledge for you and activated some prior knowledge as well, let's dig into some strategies for literacy. So there are 4 that I'm going to speak about today. I'm going to talk about book talks, audiobooks and ear reading, create books, and readers theater. Now, all 4 of these are ones that I have used in my classroom, and my students thoroughly enjoy them. So let's start out with a book talk. What is a book talk? Many of you have probably heard of what a book talk is, but might not be so sure what exactly it is. So Bond defines a book talk saying, "A book talk typically involves introducing the book and why it is a compelling read without revealing too much about the plot." That is the key to a book talk. We want to give them just enough to intrigue them and make them want to check the book out themselves. So some characteristics. These are used to hook students. You always want to start out with a line that's going to hook them and give them a little bit of information throughout and leave them on a cliffhanger so they want to check this book out. They need to be exciting and engaging. So don't just sit there and read like a robot or talk like a robot. No, you want to get your students excited. You want to reel them in with these book talks. You can expose students to new genres. So think about your students who have one-track minds and they only want to read one type of book all the time. Book talks are good for getting students out of that habit. You can also read one passage from the book. You can pick out a part in the book that you really think or you think your students will really like, and you can read that to them as part of your book talk. The goal here is to leave them wanting more. Like I said, we want our students to go in the library and see this book and say, oh, I want to check that out. I want to find out what happens. So book talks can be spoken book talks that you do just in front of your kids. There are video book talks, but all of this, you want it to lead to student-led book talks. You want students to want to talk about books they're reading and get their classmates intrigued in these books as well. So I have an example of a video book talk that I actually created for one of my classes. So we will watch this for an example. Hello, my name is Miss Lehman, and I'm doing a book talk on A Bad Case of Stripes, written and illustrated by David Shannon. Can you remember a time when you woke up before school one morning and felt too sick to go? Just think if you woke up sick, but with a bad case of stripes. In this book, Camilla Cream always wanted to fit in with her friends. Because of this, she avoided doing things she liked, including eating lima beans. If her friends didn't do it, neither did she. She was always worried about what everyone else thought about her. For her first day of school, she struggled to find the perfect outfit. Just when she thought she found the one that would impress everyone, she turned around to find that she was striped. She was going to have to miss the first day of school. A doctor came to visit and was puzzled by Camilla's stripes. He assured her that she could still go to school. The next day, Camilla went to school. Everyone made fun of her, especially when they realized she would change color according to what they called out to her. The principal said she was too big of a distraction and couldn't return to school. So Camilla stayed home so more doctors could examine her. They could not figure it out. Soon, she was on the news. The bizarre case of the incredible changing kid was known by all, while her parents struggled to help her return to normal. Even after ideas from psychologists, allergists, nutritionists, psychics, a medicine man, and even a veterinarian. Nothing was working. An environmental therapist came and thought she could save the day. She had Camilla close her eyes and become one with her room. Slowly, her bed became her mouth, and she had paintings for eyes. It just kept getting worse and worse. Will Camilla be cured and go back to normal? What will happen next? Check out A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon to see if Camilla conquers the bad case of stripes. All right, so this was just an example of what a book talk can look like in a form of a video. So next, let's take a look at audiobooks and ear reading. So what are these? Audiobooks are books that are recorded and can be listened to, while ear reading is listening to an audiobook while reading and following along. Both of these have different benefits. So some audiobook benefits, it makes it more accessible for our students. So these kinds of books, our audiobooks, help our visually impaired students. They help our English as a second language students, and they also help our ECE or students with disabilities. They make them more enjoyable for our students. A lot of our students would much rather listen to a book than have to read it themselves. So that's one of those things where you can really get them interested in books and realizing that reading books themselves is very exciting as well. Audiobooks can add story elements that help set the mood. So they can add intonation, you can add voice, and this all adds to the experience. They're also very popular with teens. So they like to listen to audiobooks because they can multitask while they listen. Which, at that age, they're all about multitasking and doing more than one thing. So that's one of the things that really gets them hooked is they can put their headphones in and they can do other things while listening to the audiobook. They also promote creativity. So if you think about it, they don't have the pictures. They don't know what the characters look like. So it helps them really visualize different story elements like characters and events that happen. On the flip side, we have ear reading. So ear reading benefits, it's really good for struggling readers. So if they have an audiobook, they're listening to an audiobook, but they also have the book in front of them, they can really see and hear what it's like to read this book fluently. It's really good for our students with dyslexia, but it also can allow students to practice one-to-one matching, which is really beneficial for our primary aged babies. You can click on audiobook benefits and it'll actually take you to a link that has different audiobooks for children. So that's something that you can check out. So next we go on to create books. So how does this strategy work? It works just like it sounds. Students create their own books based on different topics. So you give them a prompt, or maybe it's a reflection, or maybe you just give them free writing time. Students are writing their own books. These can be used cross-curricular. You can have students write a book about a topic they might be covering in social studies, or you can have them write a book about something that they learned in science that they would like to write and tell someone else about. These can be written or digital. So I know for my students, we just take some, normal printer paper, fold it, staple it, and then they have already got a book that they can then go in and write and create their own book. Then there are some digital options, and I have some digital options that I'll show you here in just a second, but they can be used at any grade level. You can use them across grades K through 12. Students can write their own books, and they don't take a whole lot of preparation. You give, like I said, the written version, you take some printer paper, you staple it, there you go. The digital versions, students just go to these websites and they can go from there. So if you click on these, it just takes you to the different websites that I have given you. So we have Story Jumper, we have Canva, and then we have Book Creator, which is also a very popular one as well. I do have some samples of book creations that my students have done themselves. First off, I made a sample book, and I use both of these examples are from Story Jumper, which is really easy for our students to use. But this is a sample I made for my service learning project, and I showed this to my students as an example of what they would be creating. So it really flips like a book. You can add pictures, you can create avatars, you can change the fonts. It's really nice and easy to use. So this is an example of what I made to show my students. Then if you click here, you can see a version that my students actually made themselves. So here we have a book about Afghanistan. Students were to research a country that our different students in our class came from, and they were to pick out 3 facts that they think were most important, and they were to put them into this book. So here is what that looks like. So it's pretty cool. I love that the pages flip just like a book. So it makes it really interactive and intriguing for the students. This video is a tutorial for students to use Book Creator, and we won't watch the whole thing, but I will give you this presentation so you can look at the links and check them out, but we'll watch just a little bit of it.
Hi guys, I'm Ruby, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to use Book Creator. We're going to be covering how to sign in, how to copy a book, and how to make your own book. Okay, so you'll need to go to app.bookcreator.com.
So we'll skip forward a little bit.
We've shown you how to sign in, and we've shown you how to copy your book. And now we're going to show you how to make your very own book. So press the new book button up here. We can choose either a normal book or a comic book, and you have portrait, square, or landscape. I'm going to choose a square comic book. Okay, so you'll have the cover, and then you have the pages inside your book. You're only given 3 pages at the start, but you can add as many as you like. So press the plus button to add a new page. So now I've got 4 pages, 5 pages. And you can also go up to the pages button to see all your different pages.
Skip ahead a little bit more. So you can see she's adding text.
You can change if it's to the side, centered, to the other. So I'm going to choose. And if you don't like it, then you can always do image search. You can type in whatever you want.
So here you can add images. So you can see there's a lot of different ways you can use Book Creator, and it's very user-friendly, student-friendly as well. So next, that brings us to Reader's Theater, and I'm sure everyone has heard of Reader's Theater, but in Reader's Theater, students read a script from a book while the audience visualizes the action from hearing the read aloud version of the script. So you have seen books that have different characters and different parts, and each character has their own part, and I've used this in my classroom. We'll have a Reader's Theater type book. I'll assign my students each a role, and anytime that role pops up in the script, their job is to read that aloud. So this is highly integrated. This has reading, writing, listening, speaking, collaboration. All of these things are integrated when you use Reader's Theater. It also requires no typical theater elements. So there are no sets, no costume, no props, unless you wanted to take it that step further. And there are also no memorized lines. So students are reading these straight off of their pages. Readers can use voice expressions and gestures. So our readers can really, really get into it when they do Reader's Theater. And I've seen students that really do get into it and take over the characters that they are portraying. So some benefits of this, it really promotes fluency. The students are reading these books over and over and over. They're doing these scripts over and over and over. So they are getting repeated exposure to the text. It helps increase comprehension. It obviously helps increase student engagement because all students have a part. It is very motivating for them. They enjoy it a lot. And they can also make real-world connections. So here is a sample of Reader's Theater in action. So we'll watch a little bit of this.
Animal Band. Once upon a time, there was an old donkey who lived on a farm. My master doesn't want me anymore because I am getting too old to carry heavy loads. I will have to go away before something happens to me. So the donkey hobbled off down the road. I may not be strong enough to work, but I do have a very strong voice. I will go to Bremen Town and sing to the people there. The donkey had not gone far when he met an old dog resting by the side of the road. Hello, dog. What are you doing here? My master doesn't want me anymore because I am too old to go hunting with him. Can you sing? I have a very fine voice. Then come with me to Bremen Town. You can sing in my band. So off they went together down the road. They had not gone.
So you can see that this really does, you can see the students are sitting on the floor in front of them. They're really listening. They are visualizing what's going on. You can see different students were getting into it a little bit more than others, but it also really helps students understand the purpose of dialogue. So you had the two girls that were having a conversation back and forth. It helps our students understand that a little bit better.
Animal Band.
So what's next? All of these strategies can be useful for any grade level. Like I said, you can use these for any grade level. Any group of students will benefit from this. So a little bit of a reflection. I want you to think about what you have learned today. Think about what information resonated with you the most, and what are some strategies that you are most excited to take back and try in your classrooms or libraries. So here is a reflection I have included for you. So there are some additional questions that are really going to help you think about what you've learned today. So you can take the Google Form quiz link above. You just click on it and it takes you right to the quiz. You put in your email, you answer the questions. Here are my resources that I used for this presentation. And then a special thanks, if you have any questions, my email address is right there, but a special thanks to SlidesGo for this slide template. Thank you for attending my PD, and I hope you have great success in implementing these strategies.